All right, welcome back, everyone. I am lead trainer with StocksToTrade, Tim Bohen. Today, we're going to be talking about the Oracle algorithm watch list builder as well as stock prediction tools. So if you're on StocksToTrade Advisory every morning, 8:30 Eastern, you can click a link below. It's crazy cheap what you get every single day. I've missed like 2 or 3 days in almost 3 years now, mainly just because of appointments and stuff. Never been sick, not once. 3 years, never called in sick. Anyway, that being said, you'll see me every single morning. Typically, we end StocksToTrade Advisory where I go over what I consider to be my number one idea for the day. And you'll see me go to Oracle. And there's a lot going on here. But let me give you a brief introduction. Then we're going to use this to look at probably one of the best plays today and how it was laid out in advance. So what you have in front of you is a list of 15 to 20 stocks. And this list is populated in pre-market beginning, right when, NASDAQ opens, starts at 4 a.m., NYSE as well. So this starts collecting data. Now at 4 a.m., you're probably not going to have a full list, but as you move through pre-market based on volatility, based on price action, based on news, based on Fibonacci's, based on a bunch of cool black box proprietary stuff. I actually worked with the development team for years to develop this. A lot going on under the hood. I will not, unlike two all beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, I will not disclose the secret ingredients to the Big Mac secret sauce, though I think everybody pretty much knows what it is. Anyway, that being said, a lot going on under the hood, and it builds a list, and then that list gets delivered to you as you go into the market open. Then what's cool about the algorithm is it collects market open data. So it's collecting the first 3 to 4 minutes of prints, okay? So when we talk about prints, we're talking about the level 1 data. So it's looking at the number of upticks, the number of downticks, as well as the size, okay? I'm actually giving away a little bit of special sauce here. But in that first 3-4 minutes of the market open, it collects that data and then uses the algorithm to make predictions based on that. So now you can see I'm recording roughly midday. So you can see about half the stocks have the red indicator. So you've got your ticker here. Then you've got an indicator whether or not the stock is currently bullish or bearish. You can see MF, MULN, the indicator's leaning red. So you would look to potentially short these stocks. So basically the algo is telling you, look at the short side. Now you've got signals, delta, support areas, and then the minimum and maximum move against those areas. So then you get down to some bullish stocks, IMMX, Chewy, RPTX, RDBX is going to be the one we talk about for sake of this video. But you can see it's still bullish after it already broke the 639 level. So let's work through this in a logical progression. So you can see that 639 level on RDBX, you should be familiar with the stock. Epic short squeeze. I mean, this is the worst stock in the world. It's up there, very dubious. They do some streaming, but it's like DVDs. Okay. It's like old school Blockbuster or old school Netflix. Now Netflix has been getting pummeled lately. So a lot of people have been looking to RDBX as some sort of competitor. They're no competitor for Netflix. They're no competitor for Disney Plus. This company will fail, but early shorts getting twisted. So this thing's been on play for literally months now, or just a month. No, this started running March. So yeah, months now. I'm recording in the beginning of June right now. So months is appropriate. So anyway, after the market opened, you can see it gave a predicted level of 639. That would have been right here. Basically, for all intents and purposes, a dip and rip. If you know those patterns, and again, check out StocksToTrade Advisory. You get access to my ebook, okay? I talk about the top 5 long patterns, the top 5 short patterns. You'll hear me mention that all the time. They're broke down in that book. It's not crazy long. It's an easy read. You could probably, if you get after it, you could probably get through it in a day. I made it concise. I made it simple because I think people overcomplicate things. I mean, listen, there's a lot in trading, but it's one of those things. If you can't get across simple ideas and simple concepts without going into 1,000 pages, well, you need to distill that down. I mean, listen, I love long fiction books. Okay, if it's a book of fiction, it's like Fountainhead or the Lord of the Rings. I mean, you have this epic story that Lord of the Rings takes place over years and all these different civilizations and cultures, and you need thousands of pages. I think a lot of the stuff people just blovate, is that the right term? And just ramble on and on and on so that they can hit 300 or 400 pages. Anyway, get the book. So this is basically a dip and rip at that 639 level. You can see then it has this gold line, 584, which you can see is basically, for all intents and purposes, morning support. You can see how this thing gapped up, and then 4 a.m. to all the way up to basically 9 a.m., even 9:30. It based above that 584 level. So that would have been a smart risk level. So then you would take that trade if this checked your boxes, if it fit your profile. And you can see it's just been steadily uptrending, holding above VWAP all day as we head into midday, nicely above VWAP, only 20 cents from the high of the day. Very strong currently, great volume, 17 million shares traded midday, 10 million float. Checking a lot of boxes here, you can tell. So then what's great about that, Oracle gives you a clearly defined area to risk off of, but then also gives you areas to sell into. So you can see this 771 area down here in the bottom. So this is, again, the Oracle bar, as we call it. And this is pointing out key levels to the upside and the downside, support and resistance levels with some math behind it that would give you good areas to look to sell into. So 771, you can see if Oracle or if the stock RDBX starts butting up against that 771 area and can't break, that's going to give you a good indication, okay, time to take profits. It's struggling at this resistance level. I'm up, if you took that 639 level, I'm up $1.20, $1.30 a share. Maybe it's time to move on. So then you can also see at 701, which is a whole dollar, half dollar area. Notice this 47 right here. So what that means is this took 47 attempts to break 701, and now it's holding above. So that's also a good indicator that that's a good area to look to, if it fails. So if this fails 701, you know what we say about resistance. Resistance that fails resistance that builds, resistance that builds and holds tends to become support. When that support breaks, time to bail. So that would be a good indicator that you can move on for small profits. I mean, obviously you would prefer to sell up at 771, but if it fails that whole dollar area, fails that support area that was resistance prior, that's a good area that tells you that the technical analysis is failed and it's time to move on. And hey, maybe you sell at 680, 670, you still made 30, 40 cents a share. Vice versa, if it blows through 771 and starts holding above that layer area and starts setting in ticks like the 47, you get 30, 40, 50, 100 ticks at that point, you're going to be like, hey, it's building support. Maybe I'm going to get a little more aggressive and let this ride up into the next Oracle level. So just a great tool to show you, again, one click, okay? You come in the morning and, let's say, I would never recommend this, but maybe you're busy. You show up at the market at, say, 8:30, okay? And you're like, geez, how do I build a watch list? Where do I start? With one click, you click the Oracle in your bar, and it gives you all those stocks, all the most potentially volatile stocks. Then what's nice about that, you can start going through and looking for recent runners. I mean, listen, IMMX, recent runner. Again, if you've been trading lately, you have to be living under a rock to not be aware of RDBX. Or look at SIGA. SIGA's on here with an break of 1222. SIGA is that trashy monkeypox play that squeezed on 2 Fridays and may squeeze again tomorrow. And you can see that 1222 level was basically a red to green. So these are all stocks that can save you some time. Now, again, you got to know what's going on in the market because you've just got tickers here. I'm not just saying you randomly buy any of these. But let's say you were really busy yesterday, you didn't have time to run your scans, and you're trying to figure things out. You now know, hey, MULN, recent runner, IMMX. Hey, Chewy had earnings last night, okay? So it can really save you time, especially if you're really busy. I mean, listen, I have the luxury of spending hours every morning to do research, to write plans and prepare. But this is what I do. You might have a job, you might have kids, you might have school, you might have all three, and you still want to trade, you still want to grow your account, but you can't spend 4 hours building a watch list like I do every day. Take advantage of Oracle. It also guides you through the trades. And most importantly, if you want to take advantage of that hours and hours and hours of work that I do in pre-market. I mean, listen, if you've ever been on StocksTrade Advisory, AKA pre-market prep, you know every stock that someone brings up, I already know about it, okay? I let you ask the questions. I let the viewers drive, but there's no surprises, okay? I know why it's moving. I know what it's doing. I know what's done in the past because I'm doing hours and hours and hours of research. If you're in StocksTrade Advisory, you can benefit from that as well. Check it out, and we'll see you next time.